What's up, Taiwan? I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. U.S. President Donald Trump has set off on a multi-day trip to Asia. Trump will first visit Malaysia to attend the ASEAN Summit, a meeting of Southeast Asian nations. He will then go to Japan and finally South Korea for APEC, where he's expected to meet with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Before boarding Air Force One, Trump told reporters that he plans to discuss Taiwan with Xi, adding that he has, quote, lots of respect for Taiwan. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council, which oversees cross-strait matters, has slammed a decision by China to designate October 25th Taiwan Restoration Day. China's top legislative body passed the decision on Friday. It's part of efforts by Beijing to claim sovereignty over Taiwan, despite never ruling it. This comes as Taiwan observes Retrocession Day, which marks Japan's surrender of Taiwan in 1945 and the beginning of rule by the Republic of China, or ROC. In its response to China's announcement, the Mainland Affairs Council said the day had nothing to do with the People's Republic of China. It added that the Chinese Communist Party had not set up its regime at the time and that it made no positive contribution to the war against Japan. As Taiwan marks its 80th Retrocession Day, TaiwanPlus reporter Breen Thomas looks back at the end of the country's journey from empire to republic.
80 years ago, in the building behind me, half a century of Japanese colonial rule in Taiwan was about to come to an end. And while it's now used as a performance venue, Zhongshan Hall looks a lot like it did back then. At the time of completion in 1936, the hall was the fourth largest public auditorium in the Japanese Empire, and with its green roof tiles chosen to disguise it during air raids, it's symbolic of a period of Japanese rule that ended with World War II.
Taiwan was part of the wider Japanese Empire from 1895 as a colony of Japan. Japanese officials who thought about how to integrate it into the empire used it as a sort of test ground, in a sense, for how they could both dominate a new colonial territory, but also create a new kind of middle class that they hoped would be loyal to the Japanese empire.
To develop this middle class, the Japanese built universities and schools all over the island, part of larger infrastructure modernization efforts. Zhongshan Hall was built as part of a wave of public works across Taiwan. Now, those included the streets outside, the pipes beneath our feet, and even Taipei Main Station, which is just down the street. By 1906, the average Taiwanese male could expect to live to just over 28 years old. By the late 1930s, that had risen to 41. Infant mortality rates dropped considerably under Japanese rule, driven by improved hygiene in hospitals. In terms of education, Taiwan went from around 5% literacy in 1905 to over 70% by 1943. By the end of World War II, school enrollment had risen to over 70% across every ethnic group. But these statistics don't tell the whole story of state-sanctioned oppression, cultural erasure, language suppression, and racial hierarchy.
The Taiwanese were not recognized as full citizens, so they were not entitled to full citizen right or obligation, and to serve in the military to the Japanese was an honor, and also in a way it's a right to serve in the military. So the Taiwanese in a way were denied this right or obligation.
Zhongshan Hall was erected on the site of a demolished Qing Dynasty-era office, built by thousands of local laborers who worked up to 12 hours a day and often earned only a third of what Japanese workers made. They had no say in its design.
The Japanese Empire, while it proclaimed on one hand to be this kind of racial harmony of East Asians together, of course, the reality is a much more kind of strident hierarchy with Japanese at the top.
Japanese rule was punctuated by political repression. Over 1,000 were executed in the 1915 Tepani incident, and in 1930, Japanese forces used mustard gas to suppress indigenous uprisings in the Central Mountains. In Taiwan cities, women were forced into sexual slavery as comfort women, and in its schools, local languages suppressed.
The Pan-Asianism, the often very racially defined way in which Japan ran its empire in the pre-war years, persisted into the way in which they treated other ethnicities who were recruited into service.
In World War II, as part of Japan's empire, Taiwanese were conscripted to fight abroad while their cities, green roofs and all, became targets for Allied bombings. And when the war ended, people in Taiwan again had no say in their fate.
At the end of November 1943, Winston Churchill, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and Chiang Kai-shek, the leaders of the three Allied powers in Asia, met for a major conference at Cairo, which, amongst other things, made it clear that after the war, certain islands and also territories that Japan held, such as Taiwan, will be returned to the Republic of China.
As the conference in Cairo ended, the Allied leaders released a statement agreeing that the island of Taiwan would be handed over to the Republic of China on October 25, 1945. That date is still marked in Taiwan as retrocession. Now, this room looks much as it did 80 years ago when Japanese colonial rule over Taiwan came to an end, about where I'm standing right now. Now, light would have been pouring in through these windows behind me, through cigarette smoke and the pop of flash bulbs, as Rikichi Ando, the last Governor General of Taiwan, came forward and signed the island over to Chen Yi, its new Republic of China leader. Retrocession ended 50 years of colonial rule in Taiwan, but not political repression or hardship.
How did the Taiwanese experience retrocession? In short, it's from the initial jubilation and relief to later on disappointment and dread, and then anger.
Taiwan would go on to be run as a one-party state under the Kuomintang, whose iron-fisted rule lasted nearly 4 decades. It would take until the 1990s for the country to truly deliver on its own ideology of democracy, pluralism, and the freedom to choose one's own identity. Now, 80 years after the end of Japanese rule, Taiwan has democratized, stabilized, and achieved genuine self-determination. A society looking to the future while carrying a complex past. Luffy Lee and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
The Army is holding a 7-day drill focused on realistic combat training, simulating an enemy attack. This year's exercise includes several unconventional units, including those involved in psychological operations and information and communications. The drill focuses on training commanders to effectively use these supporting units, along with drones, new weapon systems, and command and control networks in coordinated tactical operations. Taiwan's Supreme Prosecutor's Office says it wants to get tougher on people who evade their required military service. It's proposed raising the maximum sentence to 7 years in prison. It comes after several celebrities got in trouble for dodging conscription in recent weeks, prompting discussion about how extensive the issue is. An investigation last week found dozens of cases of people falsifying medical documents to get out of serving. Experts say that besides raising penalties, Taiwan needs to strengthen draftees' sense of pride in serving their country rather than viewing their service as something to escape. Months after a ceasefire ended hostilities between Thailand and Cambodia, the landmines that set off the conflict are still sparking concern. Bangkok says they're newly laid anti-personnel mines in violation of a peace treaty, while Cambodia says they're remnants of past war. Our reporter Larry Isiano has more.
Soldiers carefully patrol this disputed border area between Thailand and Cambodia, using metal detectors to scan for mines. It's an area that's seen deadly conflict, and tensions reemerged in July this year when a Thai soldier stepped on a landmine while on patrol there. 5 other Thai soldiers have since been injured by landmines, a sensitive topic in a region where their use is particularly controversial.
It's a life experience not worth remembering, but it's an indication that the opponent did sneak into the area and planted these mines, and that they have violated the Ottawa Convention.
Both Thailand and Cambodia are signatories to the Ottawa Convention, which bans the use of anti-personnel mines and requires all stockpiles to be destroyed. Bangkok is accusing Cambodia of laying an old type of Soviet landmine, relatively common in the area, violating that treaty. But Phnom Penh says the landmines are remnants of previous conflicts that only appear to be recently laid.
Evidence presented by Thailand has never been subjected to any independent or joint investigation over the time. There were erosion, there was vegetation and flooding areas, so mines have been moving around, and that they remain as fresh mines, but they are all mines.
But Thai officials are not convinced. They're releasing images of mines recently discovered, shrapnel from explosions, and information about soldiers' injuries. Evidence some experts say points to renewed attacks on Thai soldiers.
These were very shallowly laid mines, and very recently laid mines underneath it. In my mind, there is absolutely no doubt they were placed there to target the Thai patrol, not for conventional border security. So I have no doubt that the July 16th one were definitely part of the PMO too.
Phnom Penh has long pushed to eliminate landmines that have plagued the country and its civilians, spending about $1 billion on demining over the last 30 years. But after 5 days of clashes with Thai troops in July ended in a ceasefire, the lingering threat of unexploded mines still endangers that fragile peace. Larry Ciano and Joseph Wu for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan Pride 2025 is here. The annual event has been going for over 2 decades, and its popularity both at home and abroad has continued to grow. Irene Ling was there.
The skies in Taipei may be cloudy, but here in the heart of the city, it's all rainbows as Taiwan's annual Pride Parade gets underway. Thousands of people from around the country and the world are marching through the streets to show support and unity with the LGBTQ+ community. Now in its 23rd year, this is Asia's largest Pride event, and it continues to grow year after year, with many new and returning attendees. Some have even flown to Taiwan just to experience the grand celebration.
一开始是为了同婚，那这几年就是觉得，因为其实你平常在生活周遭你不会遇到同时这么多的 gay， 那你就会想要来，就是有点像融入这个社群，跟大家见见面。因为同婚过了之后，其实对我来说我就没有太明确的一个诉求，可是我还是会来游行，是因为其实会有很多的朋友在这个时候，所以可能其实1年你遇不到他几次，可是你来这边就可以一直遇到你认识的朋友，那对我来讲是一个很快乐的过程。
This is my 4th year here at Taipei, and I love it. It's so big, and being from mainland China, Shanghai, they don't have any pride parades. So we come here to support, show our love for the pride community, and I feel international.
The parade's theme this year is transcending stereotypes and understanding each other's differences. Taiwan was the first country in the region to legalize same-sex marriage, though the queer community here still faces some barriers, like ID requirements for transgender people.
我觉得在这个免诉换证，在这个多元性，在这个跨性别面临非常大的一个，今年面临非常大的一个困境的时候，其实我觉得很开心，就是看到大家出现在这边，然后就是我觉得大家的出现就是一种支持。
Still, the country's progressive stance on LGBTQ+ issues was reflected in some of the most high-profile attendees at Pride, including Taipei City Mayor Jiang Wan'an.
我想在今天这日子，就是特别来到市府广场前。那我想最重要，我们就是代表一个 Leave No One Behind 这样的一个精神跟态度。
The parade started at Taipei City Hall and spread out into 2 routes, each with different queer rights groups and performers leading the procession. It's been a wet week for Taiwan, but people here are not letting the bad weather dampen their positive energy as they come out, have fun, and march for a better future for LGBTQ+ people everywhere. Joseph Wu and Irene Lin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, we leave you with highlights from Taipei Fashion Week. I'm Ethan. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and Osaka, download the TaiwanPlus app.